Hey yo, Outliers, Niiamah Ashong here, and we are not messing around. Welcome to the Outliers Edge Roundtable, where each time we come together with the different outliers who are playing the game to the fullest, who keep asking themselves, how do I not just move forward, not just bring others forward, but how do I actually elevate the game? How do I play the biggest game that I can? You see, you're surrounded by people who don't play small. No, they don't play small, but they are constantly making sure that they don't get stuck playing medium. And today we're going to be talking to these awesome outliers here on the roundtable, and we're going to see where the conversation goes. I want you to get to know them and the game that they're playing, how they show up as an outlier in their world. So I'm going to start with Paul, then I'm going to Cynthia, then I'm going to go to Mayzie, and we're going to hear about from all of you. Tell us about the game that you're playing. Paul, start us off, please.
Awesome. Thank you, Niiamah. And I just want to acknowledge you for the space that you create. I mean, it definitely shows who you are as a person, the space that you're passionate about. And I really love the kind of affiliation that we have. I am Off the Comma. That's kind of the brand that is evolving and developing from the work that I do. And I hesitate to use the word brand because I feel like it means so much more. But I have a long career in corporate training and development. So I have a long history of being with learners as they learn and develop new skills and new ways of being and thinking. And then, kind of around the time of the pandemic, as the world was changing for all of us, a really big shift happened in my world. And that's when I started to shift and my values started shifting to where I had traditionally supported teams and organizations, and now I found myself shifting more towards wanting to serve individuals. So I'll make a long story short. In addition to the other things that I was doing at that time and the deep self reflection, I also went through my professional life coach training program and ICF certification and added life coaching to my suite of services, if you will. And ever since then, I have been on this journey of redefining what big is, redefining what's meaningful for me, and redefining how I want to show up in the world. And so I'm sure some of that will come out in the discussion that we're going to have here. But my outliers edge is that I am very non-traditional in the things that I'm doing right now. And when I talk about success and going big and that sort of thing, it's not likely to look like what a lot of folks are broadcasting on YouTube or on television.
Oh, Paul, you just said it. You're like, it's not like it's not likely to look like others. I'm like, I get very, very, very excited to hear that. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for bringing all of you here. You also got me thinking like you're like a brand is not it's not big enough for what it is that I do. What like so like take a second on that. Like to think about like if you were just gonna be honest about it. Like I think of Outliers as a movement. I
Mm-hmm.
get that, you know. So if there is something larger than the brand, just let us know, and I will meet you in that identity. No problem.
Mm,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Cynthia, help us get to know you.
Hi, you know what? I'm still blown away that I am now the founder and CEO of Dream to Rise LLC. That I am a transformational life coach, and I touch people in terms of them at manifesting what they want to manifest in life. I'm now a podcaster, Dream to Rise podcast. I have my own mastermind group, Dream to Rise Inner Circle, and I am a published author and international speaker. I am blown away by the fact that I also lived in my dark bubble for 6 long years. After my abusive husband passed away uh, after his second restraining order and was blocked by his family because they blame me for what happened to him. And but what I realized in my journey, the lessons that I've learned, that I am now stronger, more resilient, more creative, resourceful, and more compassionate. And now I'm committed to live my purpose so that I may be a blessing for others, so they may be the best version of themselves. Now I'm committed to help others create their dream by design. Most of the time, we create our dream by default because of our fears, our past pains, and us sabotaging ourselves, our doubts. And I'm committed and passionate educating others that we can truly create the life we love as long as we believe.
Well, I believe, and I'm really, really grateful that you are here. Thank you for dreaming. Thank you for rising, and thank you for bringing that with you, Cynthia. And I know that, like, and honestly, thank you for being real with us, because, like, there's an element of this I find sometimes when people have like a positive message to come out in the world that they don't that people don't think that it's all sunshine and rainbows, and they miss out that, like, they actually had to go through the shadows, they had to go through the muck, they had to go through what you call the dark bubble to know just how bright things are.
Yes.
And so I appreciate you making sure that like we get a chance to actually see you more fully through this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing what you got. Awesome.
Thank you.
Maisie, hit us up with it. Tell us
Yeah,
about your game.
so I'm Mayzie Greenman, but first off, I just want to say thanks for having me on here. Like Paul said, having us all here is such an awesome opportunity, and being able to connect with such amazing people. And Paul and Cynthia, thanks for sharing your stories. Cynthia, you are so strong for being able to be so vulnerable with so many people. And Paul, you're also so strong for just shifting away from the norm and being on your own journey to be an entrepreneur and off the comma and of everything that you're doing. I think it's so amazing. But yeah, so I am Mayzie Greenman. Like I said, I'm from Utah. I really have done so much. I'm only 20 years old. That's the catch. And I have a cosmetology license. I have a criminal justice degree, a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I have my podcast, the Maze Pod, and then my own business that I'm just starting. And I'm a 911 dispatcher. So I've done it all. And I'm really here to just show people that it doesn't matter how old you are or where you come from. If you want to do it, you can do it no matter what. Just you got to put in the work and you got to put in the effort. So that's what I really try to share on the Maze Pod.
Well,
Huge acknowledgement to you as well for just the experimentation and the trying things.
Thanks.
Exactly, exactly. And I agree with you. Age doesn't matter. I discovered my purpose when I retired from my previous job, and I created my life. So it's a new chapter.
Well, let's talk about new
Proud of
chapters
you.
here, right? Let's talk about new chapters here. And I think that this is, I love hanging out with outliers because, like, you just never know, right? You just never really know, like, well, like the game that someone is playing and what they stand for. So, like, let's talk about new chapters. And each of us had to make a choice to become the person that we are today. And I'd like to just start out here with something that you had to, like, let go of, something that you had to, like, that you may have even thought of was you back before the current chapter you're in. What's something you had to let go of in order to become the person that you are today? Cynthia, I'm drawn to starting off with you. Do you mind, like, hitting us up with this, and then we'll just see where the conversation goes?
Actually, yes, I shared with you that I got stuck in my dark bubble for 6 years because of what happened in my life after my husband passed away. And being blocked by his family, now turning 10 years, they haven't connected with their grandchildren. And for me, I felt that guilt within me that, hey, I was the cause of his death. And and that was the heavy baggage which I carried for how many years. And I stopped engaging with people. I stopped what's this? Socializing. I stopped even going to the gym. Why? Because of fear. Fear that I'll be judged. Fear that I'll be rejected. Fear that I was a failure as a mom and as a wife. But it was the time when my son asked me, because he just graduated from high school, and he asked me, Mom, will I be going to college? You know what? It was like a slap on my face. I still have that responsibility for my son to send him to school. But when I asked him, where would you like to go to school? And he asked me, is it okay to go to Culinary Institute of America? He wanted to be a chef. I've heard about CIA because a lot of famous chefs graduated from that school. But when I did my research, I was terrified by the tuition fee. I will share with you. First year was 50,000, second and third year were 60,000 each. As a single mom, as a single earner, where will I get that money? But I tried to convince him change program, change school, but he was not happy. So when we visited CIA, I could see that sudden change on his face, smile from ear to ear, him super excited, visualizing himself living in that campus along Hudson River. And I told myself, the only thing that I can do for as a mom is to support my son, my children. So even though I didn't have the money, okay, apply. When he got accepted, that was the time I got terrified. Where will I get the money now? But I knew I was having this strong relationship with God. It was only God that I was who was my rock, who gave me so much strength. And when I asked him, dear Lord, I know I won't be able to do this without your help. Please help me. For I believe that with God, nothing is impossible. So that was the time manifestation started to happen. I've been applying as an analyst at the World Bank. It's so hard to break the glass ceiling. It so happened during that time, HR offered this GE readiness program. GE is the grade level for the, for the analyst. I was on a GD. Out of 850 plus who applied globally, 25 was declared GE ready. And I was one of them.
That's
and
awesome.
Suddenly, one admin staff, HR admin, asked me, Cynthia, would you be available for an interview? Sure, of course. And then when I told her, you know what, I can't seem to remember applying for this position. And she said, we did not post this job opening. We got 6 to be interviewed from the 25. I got the position. That was the first manifestation. And I'll share with you that too, huh?
Well,
And then
one second here, Cynthia, because I want to try and grab something here. So, some of what I'm hearing here, right, is that like you had something in your life that like your son is like, I'm going to college, and it actually helped like got you to a place where it's like, oh, I gotta change the chapter. You know, like I have to step into something and create something out here. And with that, like you started to see different opportunities, or different opportunities started to come to you. You started opening up. I'm hearing from you, and things started manifesting in your world, even when you weren't like looking for it, right? So I want to go over to Mayzie now and see, Mayzie, for you, like tell me here around like when it came for you turning the chapter, like I get like your course, like let's just keep going, let's just keep growing here. So tell me about like some of the things, something you had to like let go of in order to become the Mayzie that you are today.
Yeah, so I feel like my turning point was really when I was like 15 or 16. So my parents got divorced when I was probably like 9 years old, and my mom was a single mom. So I really sympathize with your story, Cynthia. My mom was working 3, 4. I think the most she worked at one time was 4 jobs just to get us by. And so that really inspired me. Like, if she can do all this just to get us by, I wonder what I can put my mind to and achieve. And yeah, so we've gotten to a lot better place now where everything's great. But it was really that. And then also having the fixed mindset of, oh, I'm a small town Utah girl. Like, I can't do anything that's big. Like, seeing all the YouTubers and influencers, whoever I watched when I was in high school, I don't remember, but not putting myself in the mindset that they might have had, and just keeping in that little, I don't know, that little teenage mindset of I can't be that big.
You
And
know, can I just say real quick, Maisie? I don't think that's a teenage thing. You know, just to
yes.
let you know,
yeah,
I don't think that's a teenage thing. And I want to put it out there, like you're giving a lot of people a pass. You know, like it's not it. So like, but like, so I get you though. So being in that mindset of like, I can't be that big. Tell us a little bit more, and then we'll go to
yes.
Paul.
Yes. Sorry. I guess yeah, it can apply to everyone. That's just where I was when it was happening to me. But yeah, once you get out of that mindset, really anything that you try, it it works out for you. And then going along with what Cynthia said about the fear of rejection and the fear of being judged and everything like that, once you move past that, it's really hard at first to try and grasp onto that concept of just letting go of what everyone else thinks. But once you do that, the opportunities for you are endless. And then, along with the manifestation stuff, anything that you say, you put into the universe, if it's good and you really want it to happen, it'll happen. I feel like that's happened with all of my opportunities. And yeah, I feel like that's really what's gotten to me where I am. I cannot speak. What's
No,
gotten to me
we're
where I
following you.
am right now.
We are
But
following you
yeah,
there. Yeah. Thank you, Mayzie. Like you said something I had to come back that I'm going to come back to. I can't be that big. Outliers. Where in your world right now are you giving yourself that statement or something similar? I can't be that big. We're going to keep exploring here in today's conversation. We're like, I don't think you have any clue how big you can be. We're going to play off that. I think it actually is pretty appropriate to come to Paul next on this one here. Paul, I want to get your thoughts on the same thing around like what you had to let go of in order to become the person you are today. And then I'm gonna just play with you a little bit more in like the growing the bigness and doing things outside the norm. You planted some seeds. We shall water.
Yeah, and that's probably well timed to do that. What did I have to let go of? Let's call this transition 2019 and beyond. And what I had to let go of was security and attachment. So I grew up poor. I grew up with fantasies of making money, being rich. I got into a corporate job in training development that involved traveling, and then this long career that I was very privileged. I was very fortunate to have that career. And yet, when I left my last corporate role, oh, and by the way, in between roles, because any of us here, anybody who's listening, who's had a stint in corporate America, has probably been through a layoff at some point or another. So I had been through a layoff or two as well, and during those periods, those commas that I was sitting on, I fortunately those skills are something that you can do independently. You can contract, you can freelance, and so forth. So I had made an attempt at one point mid-career and did consulting for a couple of years with training and development and training strategy and so forth, and then ended up going back into an employed role with another company. And just a lot of different roles and positions. You know, I've been at the director level twice. I've been at the VP level twice. So very, very fortunate in terms of all of these things that I was able to accomplish in my career. And yet, when I left my last corporate job, I decided as I was interviewing, I was also going to freelance for a little while. And this time it was kind of like, well, let's just let both horses run and see which one lands somewhere first. And then through the year 2019, I had some consulting and contract opportunities that were really kind of mind altering. I had an opportunity to do some international travel for a client that was really cool and kind of lit a spark. And then I also made the decision, at that time I was living in New Jersey, I made the decision to move back to Sacramento, which is what I consider home. And I did that on my own instead of waiting to be relocated by my next employer. And I got back to California in October of 2019, and then the pandemic hit literally right at my 50th birthday in March 19th. We were canceling flights. People were going to come and visit. So that caused the shift for all of us. That caused the shift for me. I remember, you know, as you look at this off the comma messaging, I ended up writing an article. I was just reposting this on Substack. April 20th of 2020. Yes, April 20th of 2020, I wrote this article called Sitting on a Comma. This metaphor kind of came to me, and it was all about the fact that the whole world was basically on pause, right? We were all kind of waiting to see what was going to happen. We didn't know where this was going to go. Everybody's kind of sitting in limbo, and what that was creating for a lot of people. And in this article, I kind of explore this metaphor of, but it is just a comma. It's not a period. The story is yet to be written. You know, we will get off the comma at some point. And so that kind of started this introspective journey of who am I? Where do I want to be? I'm 50. Do I still want to do this work that I've been doing for the past 25 plus years? Do I want to do something else? And then that led into, you know, this period of 2 or 3 years that we were all going through of, well, where's the money going to come from? How am I going to do the work? Where am I going to do the work? What is that going to involve? And so at this same time, I was downsizing necessarily from a financial standpoint, the move, the pandemic. I found myself downsizing in terms of how I lived. I found myself downsizing in terms of how I think. I found myself downsizing in terms of what my needs were. in 21, I was approached by my now coach trainer, and she's the one who asked if I'd ever considered becoming a life coach. So I agreed to go through that training program. As much for the becoming a coach as it was for I get a year to explore myself.
Yeah, so take us to this here, Paul. Thank you for this here. So we got a bit of the story behind it. Like, if you had to like drill it down to like something here that like that shifted for you, right? Like, what would it be? What was the thing where you're like, okay, here goes a shift here. Let me know just like in like a sentence or two, and then I'm gonna bring in the next question because I want to bring everyone in on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what shifted for me was I wanted to explore what I want. That was something I had never done. My whole career had been pursuing what others needed of me, what was expected of me, what we were all supposed to do. And I finally found myself realizing it's like, I'm not sure that's what I want to do. So every day since then, to answer the original question, is letting go of security, because now I'm exploring every single day, and every single day is that something I really want to do, and am I willing to experience the consequences of what that choice might make, and the benefits, right? But
I appreciate you bringing this in here. Thank you for that because it's I like to see how we continue to grow and how we continue to navigate things. I like to go to you, Cynthia, right now. Dream to rise. There's there's a question that's coming to my mind right now, which is like a lot of as we continue to get bigger, as we're continuing to grow into something here, it causes us to step outside of our comfort zone, right? And so I'm really curious right now about like what's a project that you're working on or a mission that you're going for right now that scares you. And tell us, like, if you can, like, what specifically about it scares you? And what I find typically is that when I find things that scare people, especially like with the hearts that we are going towards things, there's also a bit of us that also get really excited by it, right? We do the thing. There's growth in both. So why don't you share with us something that you're doing right now that scares you and tell us a little bit about it.
Actually, what I tried everything. It all of them scared me.
Yeah.
But if I will get, I mean, if I stay stuck in my fear, then I won't be able to move forward. I was scared to be a public speaker. I I don't know if they're going to laugh at me or if they're going to judge me. I was scared to be a podcaster, but as I go along, I came to a point wherein, hey, it's really my purpose that's driving me to doing all these things. Why am I doing these things? Because I want to help other people have that voice. Because I did have that voice when I was abused. I did get the chance to express my feelings to my husband. I was very submissive. I was raised to be like that, even my religion. And what will the society will tell me? But after my journey, I was able to really face my fear head on, because I won't be able to overcome or manage my fears if I won't try to do things that's really outside my comfort zone. And I've realized that opportunities are actually at the borderline of your comfort zone.
Cynthia, that's making me ask you. I want to ask a quick follow up on this because well, in some ways, you're like, I have to just keep stepping outside of my comfort zone. So I get you on that one. What would you say is kind of like the Cynthia method of navigating that that discomfort as you're doing something new, right? So you might like since you've been doing this a bit here, what are the ways that you get yourself ready to or you navigate through when you do something that is scaring you?
Well, it's hard to deal with people. And
In which way?
uh they might, yeah, they might just close their doors, especially me when I look for clients and so on. I meet a lot of people who would just close their doors, uh and they don't see the main reason, because when I try to connect with them, oh, you're selling. Oh, no, no, no. I am here to help. I even never mentioned about the word sell. I always mention, how can I help? How can I help? Because for me, service, I was able to overcome my challenges before because someone was able to help me. It makes a difference if there's someone who's there who would lift you up, who believes in you, who would push you to your limits so you may see your potential. And and that's what I'm trying to do for other people. But they always see the other side. And for me, it's whenever they would ask me, how much do you charge? I'm not charging you anything. I just want to share my story, my insight, because I've gone through that story myself.
I'm glad you bring in like the business stuff. Like I want to go and get something really quickly from Mayzie on here with the element of the things that are scaring you, how you step outside your comfort zone. But then I want to come back to all of us around like the business side of things because a lot of us here are entrepreneurs, are building our businesses, and I want to take that lens in. Mayzie, how about you? Like, tell us about something that's going on in your business and life right now that is scaring you, and like how you are navigating it.
Might come as a surprise, but actually doing it is the thing that scares me the most. I feel like I've really learned to thrive in that fear. I one thing that I should have said before is I still have that little voice, that little fixed mindset voice in the back of my head, but I've turned it down. I've learned to turn the volume down when I need to grow. And yeah, so I'm for my business right now, I'm currently in a program where I'm learning to promote it more and bring in more sales. And that's scaring me is actually doing the thing, getting all of these referrals and clients and everything like that. That's what scares me is actually doing it. Um, but I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna try and succeed because the only way you fail is if you quit. So
Yeah, basically, can I ask you here? So if I'm getting you, you're in the process of doing it while you're feeling the feeling scared, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I want to call this out here, Outliers, because I think a lot of times we ask ourselves the question, how can I not feel scared about it so that then I can do it? And like what becomes interesting is I find that like this is not just a beginner thing, like, oh, the first time I'm becoming an entrepreneur. It's like it's as you continue going, it's like, oh, I want to change my clientele. Like do I have to then become the person who can have this clientele, or do I go for it, or what? Like, how do I navigate this here? So I really like I want to call into attention that a bit. Yeah. Keep it
Yeah,
going, Mayzie.
sorry, really quick.
Yeah.
The one thing that I always say, the one thing I live by with feeling like that is fake it till you make it. If you feel like you're not confident, you feel like you're not ready, just fake it. And eventually, like you're tricking your brain into being confident, into succeeding. And then eventually you'll fall into that place and you'll be like, whoa, I've come so far.
Well,
And
like, can I play with that real quick here?
yeah.
Because it's like there's an element of this that feels like it's like as you do the thing, you get better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's like so it's like the making it part. It's like just go out and start making it happen, and
Yeah.
eventually it will be there.
The one thing I said in one of my past episodes, I'll make it really quick. I said it, I think it's actually coming up. I don't know. I said it when I recorded and it
Don't
was
worry,
like
we don't
practice.
like they'll be listening to this for a long time. You're good. So
Okay, good. Because I have it all scheduled
it's
and
all good.
everything.
It's all good,
But
Maisie.
the one thing I said was practice makes perfect, but it also quickly builds your confidence. And
Nice.
that's one of the
Yeah.
things I've said that really, I was like, whoa,
I like
that's true.
I like playing with this here because I found that it's like people want confidence and it's like you don't have the confidence until you've actually done it, especially
Hmm.
as we go off on our own paths in our own businesses, so on and so forth. Paul, you're talking about like your career beforehand, same with Cynthia. Like there were people that had done things that probably showed you the ropes, but now we're off on our own. And we're creating our own things here. And it's like, so
Yeah.
how do you build confidence when there isn't a playbook? What are your thoughts, Paul?
Well, and I was going to say, look for other opportunities to practice and try things, right? So the thing that scares me right now is I'm getting ready for my first keynote
Nice.
speech, right? Which is cool. Now, have I done keynotes before in my corporate roles? Absolutely. Controlled, audience and so forth. This is the first time I'll be doing it for a strange audience or an unknown audience, I should say, and a topic of my own choosing and creation. And it's based on something that I teach in one of my workshops, but I've never done it in this way before. And I'm very much positioning myself in a non-expert, non-telling kind of delivery mode. And as the inspiration came for what I wanted to talk about and how I wanted to experiment with this new way of kind of being in front of an audience, it occurred to me, well, I can rehearse it with friends. That's an easy low-hanging fruit. And then there was another situation that came up with my podcast, where I was in between. I had a gap week. I didn't have any guests. And it's like, oh, I'm going to have to do a solo episode. And it occurred to me, it's like, dry run the keynote. And so what I did is I did a whole episode that was essentially like 70% of what I'm going to be covering in the keynote, modified a little bit. And I did that as an experiment. It was a value in and of itself. It was a good rehearsal for me in terms of delivery. And I got a lot of positive feedback from people who listened to the episode who had no idea that it was multiple things in one little package. So I guess that's what I would throw into the mix is, as Mayzie said, fake it till you make it. As Cynthia says, do it with the fear. I do that as well a lot. Like if it scares me, then the answer is yes. And then I just do it scared. But what are some other ways that you can practice it, bring it into life, experiment with it that might, soften the fear and, as you talked about, increase the reps, which improves the proficiency?
I love how you just put that in, like, um, increasing the reps, right? Increasing the reps out there because that's like that feels like underneath all of it. It's like the more you do, the more you do. I love these questions you're putting out there right now. And Outliers, I'm going to invite you to think about like where are some ways that you can practice, even if it doesn't look like practice. I just got done talking to a client, and it was like there was a mindset that he wanted to take in and become because he realized it was underlying a lot of the different things he was doing. And I was like, how you open the door is a reflection of this. How you eat breakfast, how you have conversations. Like there are ways to practice such that you're not only on when you think you need to be on. So you can actually carry that and bring that along with you. So Paul, I like how you're like, oh wait, I don't have to be on the stage in front of this like group of people in order to be practicing it. I have all these different means around me that like can get me to get this message out here. Cynthia, you do speaking and things like that. Like help me see how what's some way that you have found to like continuously like expand the way that you approach like what you're doing? And in particular, Cynthia, I think what I'm looking at is this. And we're gonna start wrapping the conversation after this round here. But I'm looking at that like element of like the difference between playing medium and playing big. Right? Playing medium, playing big. And I think the question I would have for you is like, as you were stepping up to play bigger and bigger and bigger, right? What are the things that like how do you look for those opportunities for yourself? How do you determine whether you're like how do you know when you're playing medium and how do you know when you're playing big? I think that's really what I want to know. I'm curious about like the compass that we use to make that determination, and then we'll go from there.
You know what? It it makes so much difference if the result of what I do has really an impact on the audience. Like for example, after writing my books, I told I was praying, I hope I'll be given the opportunity to speak. And my mind is set in terms of I am ready to be a public speaker. And just like what Mayzie was saying, set your mind into what you want. I created a dream by design, a design which is more expanded than what I used to dream, because my dream before was always by default. And so when after I prayed for that, 2 days after, I received a text message, an invitation from the World Bank to speak at the 45th annual meeting for the 1818 Society. That's for the World Bank retirees. I was able to share my story because most of the time retirees, they don't know what they want in life. I was able to help them discover their purpose. And then another invitation for the ideas as a keynote speaker in Paris. Then here comes another one in Toronto, wherein I was a speaker. All the two ideas and Toronto happened this year, and World Bank happened November of last year. So if fear was really overpowering me, I will let go. I will let go of this opportunity. But I prayed for it. So no matter what happens, I will stick to that because that's my dream. And I want to make my dream a reality. And I had to practice. You really need to practice because I'm not a public speaker, but I'm glad at my work, I was given the opportunity to do like onboarding things, sessions for the new staff. So for me, that's a training. And I did some training programs also for the admin staff. So if you're given the opportunity, grab that opportunity. And if you feel there's always this inner voice within you, that's the intuition. And usually that inner voice is aligned to
The
the ultimate
aligned
power.
intuition right
Yes.
there. Nice,
Yes.
nice.
So if you feel that this will lead to something good for you, for the audience, grab that opportunity. After the speaking engagement, a lot of people were approached me and were crying. I resonated with your story, and they even asked help. How would I be able to overcome that fear? How would I be able to overcome that baggage which I have been carrying for so many years?
Yeah, so I'm
So
seeing this here,
that's
Cynthia,
what.
and I'm like seeing like the opportunities come your way, and you're actually out there grabbing it, you're making it come to life here, you're bringing it out in this way. I love it. I love it. Paul, Mayzie, anything that you want to say to add to this here, and then we're gonna wrap up the conversation before the top of the hour.
Mayzie.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going along with Cynthia. Just if you have an opportunity, even if it scares you, just take that opportunity. Say yes. The more opportunities that you take, the more will come your way. And eventually everything you'll just start attracting everything that you want and and then you'll be where you want to be. It's crazy. And also kind of going along with the conversation before, surround that Cynthia was bringing up, just surround yourself with people that are maybe not interested in what you're doing, but have a like what mindset as you do, because once you're surrounding the people yourself with the people that you want to be with, you'll be seeing all these other opportunities pop up. And yeah, I feel like that's all I have for that one. So
All right. All right.
I'll
Paul?
add
Yeah.
to build on what both Cynthia and Mayzie have said. Definitely listen to the voices inside you. There's, in coaching, we talk about different types of voices. There's the critic, and then there's the intuition. Generally, the one that's saying the scariest thing for me is the bigger voice. And so that's how I know that's what playing big looks like for me, is the thing that's the scariest. And by no means does that mean it's not going to be hard work and that it's going to be easy and that it just comes naturally. But yeah, those are the voices right now literally scare the crap out of me. That's like, that's probably where I need to be going.
Yeah, Alex, I want to make sure we capture this here because Paul, you've alluded to it twice. Actually, you said it once and then you like came in here, which is like you're running towards those things. You're using the scared. You're using some of those components to find like, hey, this is where I should go. It's not like this is where I can go. It's like, oh, I have infinite opportunities as to what I can do in life or with my time or with the business or with the movement or with the brand or whatever it is. And this is the one that scares me. So let's go there. And so I appreciate that because I appreciate who that makes you become. I appreciate that. I see nods all around on this Outliers. If you're not watching this here, everyone's like, yeah, I get this here. So what we're gonna do here, I want to make sure that we give Outliers an opportunity to continue down the journey with you. And Outliers, you know my thing. If you whether it's your first time or it's your 50th time listening to one of these conversations, if something has hit you in your soul and you like and just has given you the feels, I would love for you to take some time to just pass this on to someone in your life who matters and let them know. You can share this on social if you want, but I think the bigger impact is just to go and talk to one person and say, I listened to this episode and this conversation that Paul and Cynthia and Mayzie had, like it really struck me and I thought it'd be perfect for you. Take a listen, and my ask is just go share this with them there. for all of us here that want to go down into your journey, I want to find out more about like how Outliers can continue down the road with you. And so we're going to do this. We're going to do this fairly succinctly, but if you can just share with us one insight, it's a takeaway that you're taking away from this conversation. We only have a few minutes, so we'll be like about a minute a person here. Share with us one insight that you have, and then how people can continue the journey with you. What I'll say about this here is that like if you don't have an insight, that's fine too. You can say like, hey, I'm not taking anything away, and that's good. All right. Why don't we start with Paul, then Mayzie, then we'll end with Cynthia, and then we'll wrap up.
My insight, I want to acknowledge Cynthia and Mayzie specifically, and I said it earlier, is the power of experimentation, trying things out, and not getting caught up in how old you are, how young you are. Like, just do the thing. Usually I use stronger words, but just do the effing thing and see what happens. Don't get too committed to what happens. You're going to learn from anything and everything that happens. And that's what Off the Comma is all about. If you're stuck, if you're thinking about, where you want to go next in life, you can explore with me at offthecomma.com. I do coaching, teaching, and I also have a podcast as well. But yeah, experiment. Just go out and experiment. It doesn't matter with who, where, or how. Just go try it out.
Thanks for that, Paul. Mayzie.
Yeah, going along with Paul's insight, just take the opportunities, and kind of going along with his statement before, it feels like you might have an angel and a devil on your shoulder at sometimes. Learn how to mute the devil and listen to your inner voice, listen to your intuition, because truly deep down, you know what you want and you know what you can achieve. So yeah, and then if anyone wants to listen to the Maze Pod, we're on, I think, all platforms for the most part. And then I'm also on Instagram it's just at the Maze Pod. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And then Cynthia, bring us home.
Okay, thank you so much I'm really honored to be here. I've learned a lot of things with you all, Paul, Mayzie, and Niiamah. And it's a great platform to really open ourselves and be here for others. And the main takeaway that the main thing that I could share is really discover your purpose. What is your purpose in life? Because your purpose will keep you on fire. No matter what challenges you may experience along the way throughout your journey, you will see your struggles or challenges as opportunities. And that is staying positive. It's so hard to stay positive nowadays. But then when you are grateful for what you have, you don't complain. Just see the positive things happening into your life, then everything will just flow. And
Nice. Thank you.
Yes, and that's it. And for me, it's just spreading love, compassion, and kindness to all.
How can we reach you if we are catching some of the love and compassion and kindness that you're spreading?
Yes, you can reach me at my website is dreamtorise.info. I have my podcast, Dream to Rise. I have my Inner Circle, Dream to Rise, Inner Circle. Just look into my website, dreamtorise.info. And you can find me at and Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram.
Perfection. Well, thank you all here for taking the time to be here. Thank you for living the lives that you live, and for like living what it means to be an outlier out loud. I appreciate each of you. I'm excited for where things go from here, and I'm just grateful and like from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all very much, and I'm looking forward to what we create from here. Until then,
Thank you, Niiamah.
Yep.
Thanks.